Van Heveluven.
Do you know, can you pronounce his name?
I think it's Van Heveluven.
Bob, VANHEUVELEN.
Yeah.
This is your question. How much did we get from the Salazar settlement?
From the Salazar. Salazar?
Salazar.
Secretary Salazar? I don't, if that refers...
Let me finish this. From the Salazar settlement, and what are we doing with it? Can we pass it along as per capita payments to the elders as it will be a tax-free for them?
That's a beautiful idea. I think that's what we'll do.
There you go, Bob.
I think what he's asking is the Nez Perce settlement, which Secretary Salazar would have had to agree to. And our share of it's about $250,000, I think. And so one of the things that the General Counsel came up with, General Legal Counsel, John Rournette came up with, was the idea that we then collapse that money into the elder fund, and then it would be tax exempt. And so, so I think that sounds like a good idea. I'll take a look at that.
Okay, there you go, Bob. Joy Lewis, when is the new Constitution going to be ready so the corruption can be cleaned?
As soon as possible. Joy is a long-term, Joy Lewis is Joy Allard. And the Allards are, you know, our long-term family members that pushed to improve our tribe. And Tom Allard was one of our big voices.
Oh yeah, Tom.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
And so I think as soon as possible, because you know, Joy and I have shared concerns about our court systems, our prosecutor's office, and the need to improve that. And so, you know, this should serve as an example that members both inside and outside want this done.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Kevin Carr, here's the post. Oh, okay, all right. Okay. Joy Lewis again. Aaron, can I please give you another hug like the night that you were inaugurated at the casino?
I don't have any comment on that one.
She didn't ask that, but she had to get a kick out of it.
I love my A&T, but she ravished me at the count site.
She did.
So she was happy. She was happier than I was.
Okay, now there's one more question, and I think it should be cleared up right now. Angeline is your cousin also, right?
Correct.
And some consider that nepotism, but explain to them how you got her.
Sure. Angeline Bully was hired by the board of directors, I think in 2006, as the education director and assistant executive director. Angeline comes to us as a tribal member with experience in 3 other tribes as education director. She was hired as the assistant executive director in addition to education director. She comes to us with a master's degree in public administration, and when she was hired, the board of directors voted to hire her. It was not a tie vote, so I didn't cast a ballot. And subsequently, because of her qualifications and because of her demonstrated experience, when there was a vacancy in the membership executive director, I polled the board to ask them, who do you think would be the most qualified that I could appoint on an interim basis? I didn't give any hint of who, I didn't give any names, and 9 of the board members identified Angeline. That's a large number, that's a significant number of the board. A couple refused to give their opinion. There was only one person who picked another person, so she was resoundingly supported by the board. And so she served in the interim capacity, and then more recently we permanently consolidated the membership executive position with the education director position. And so where we were paying 2 people, we're now paying 1. Her salary was set at lower than what the previous membership executive director was paid, significantly lower than what that person was paid. And the board of directors voted to appoint her to that position.
So you didn't hire her?
I didn't hire her, and also nepotism in the employment policy doesn't cover cousins. It doesn't cover cousins at all. And the other thing is that Angeline will reports to a position that's currently vacant, and that position is the Internal and Membership Services Executive Director. And then her title is the Assistant Membership Internal Services Executive Director. So she won't be reporting to me. She will be reporting to this other position that's vacant. That person does report to me.
Okay, I think I just got one quick question that was kind of somebody's concern. When this all started, jobs started combining, why would you not post that job description?
I'll use as an example of the tribe separated with the CFO, the former CFO. That position was paid a significant wage, over $130,000 a year. And so we have a comptroller, and so what I recommended to the board was to take that comptroller position, collapse it with the CFO position, and then have basically it's like additional duties as assigned, and have that person perform both functions for the pay that that person was previously being paid as comptroller. And so the board voted on that. That person didn't get an increase. All right, and so the reason why you wouldn't post that, if we were to combine the positions and then post it, then this person would potentially lose their job. Because if you posted it, then you would do interviews and mislead people into believing they had a chance to actually get the position, when in reality what you've done is you've consolidated positions to save money. And so it would make no sense to post it. It was asserted that by a board member that this violated policy, and it absolutely didn't violate policy. This was a reorganizational move to save money for the tribe, and I think it was a smart move.
Good. And then I think just one more quick question and we're done. I just wanted to say that out of 100%, how much does the chairman have power over 100% from 1 to 100? To get things done and, to do what you want to do. How much power do you have?
I don't know if I could put a percent on it, but what I'll say is that I'm grateful that we have a board right now that has delegated the administrative authority to the chairperson. But that's subject to change. So the first time that I make a decision potentially that maybe irritates a board member because it adversely affects, say, their brother or sister, then if I do that enough times, then it's potentially that I'll lose that 7 votes of support. It shouldn't be up to that. The authority of the chair should be expressly delegated by the membership. That's why we need a new constitution. So I think that we have a good board, that I think in the temporary, in the interim, we're getting good cooperation. I'm the kind of person that does reach out and works with the board and facilitates discussion and then comes to some kind of conclusion. So I think I'm skilled at that. I think I can do that. But I think there are a number of administrative decisions that get blurred where the board is intervening and trying to make the decision as managers. And that's problematic because when you post positions, you post minimum credentials and experience. And I don't think that all the board meets all of those credentials. And I'll put myself in that category. I could not be a casino manager. I would not want to be a casino manager. My interest is in government services, membership services, and so I wouldn't pretend to say that I'm qualified to be a casino manager. I think that would be a mistake to say that. And so I think we need to rely on the executives that we hire positions to do these jobs, and for the board to have a healthy oversight, but somewhat of a distance oversight, so that they're not trying to micromanage and not trying to get into the operations of the tribe. Now, having said that, I was a board member when we had a dictator, and so I understand the board members' concern to make sure that they're involved. So we're kind of doing that dance right now to see where we're going to end up. It seems like it's pretty good. I've seen some adverse things in the last couple of months, but it's mostly good, and I think that we're working through it.
Good. Well, I think that's it. I think that's a great job, and I think we should do this probably twice, maybe a week, or every 2 weeks.
Yeah, that
You
sounds
know,
good.
with all you gotta go to Buffalo tomorrow morning,
Yes, I'm tired.
and you just got back from all those, and you worked today?
It's 8:16. I'm going home. I'm gonna eat. Hopefully, watch. What am I watching right now? Oh, The Voice. I'm gonna watch a little bit of The Voice before I go to bed tonight. And then tomorrow I have to work all day, and then I'm driving to New Buffalo tomorrow night. 7 hours from the Sioux. The sad thing is my uncle lives in New Buffalo, but by the time I get there, it'll be too late to visit him. I'm gonna have meetings all day, so I don't think I'm even gonna get to see my uncle.
Are these meetings for the members?
This is United Tribes meeting. Yeah, and our tribe is a member of the United Tribes. One of the things that we're going to do tomorrow is we have a piece of legislation that we pushed, which is to urge the Michigan legislature not to have a gray wolf hunt.
Oh, yes, yes.
And so we passed a resolution. We got other tribes to pass resolutions, and so now United Tribes is going to entertain a motion to oppose the wolf hunt.
Great, that's great.
Yeah.
With the Big Bear, what's been going on with that? There's no alcohol, it's all removed?
It's removed, and I gotta tell you a funny story. Okay, so this is an example of where I put the tribe's interest above my own personal interest. And all right, so when we talked about closing it, we took the bar out of the Big Bear. Not closing the Big Bear, but closing the bar. We took the bar out of the Big Bear, and I feel good about that. Really good about that.
I do too.
And so then about 2 weeks later, I'm over at an event. It was the Walk for Sobriety, which we used to have walk to the Big Bear, and then the people promoting sobriety would have to look at that bar. And so this year it was beautiful because we entered a sober facility, and it was great. So anyway, while I was there, I ran into my stepsister, Janice Payment, and she's a bartender. And she was a bartender at the Big Bear. And so I didn't know that, but it wouldn't have made a difference. And she said to me, she said, "Hey, I lost my job." And she said, "But you know what? It was the right thing to do." She said, "This was my job, but," she said, "I was concerned that when we were serving people while they were watching hockey games and their kids were there,
Yeah,
that they would be driving home with their kids."
absolutely. But she would get either unemployment or you just weren't transfer over to
Well,
the
the
casino,
board,
right?
when we made this change, the board stipulated that we'd look to find them employment. And actually, she and the other bartenders went from part-time employment to full-time employment.
Well, that was
So they're
good.
full-time employees at the
See,
casino.
God was saying something, you know.
But I have to acknowledge my sister's, she was magnanimous by putting the interest of the tribe and the kids above her own
Well,
interest.
yeah,
So I'm
absolutely.
grateful for that.
Yeah, absolutely.